Where you going, man?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out something to say outside of Baytown Babysitters
Fuck
Club.
it, don't worry. It was like a filler.
All right. Welcome back to the Baytown Babysitters Club. And in this episode, continuing with our musical conversations,
Yes.
we're doing another top five. And in this episode, we're doing top five singles. Um, Now, that does not mean singles off of certain albums like the title track or the video track. This just means single songs.
Yeah.
I
If
struggled really hard with this.
yeah.
I mean, like I finished it today and we've been working on it for a week, but
We
in our last previous in our previous video before we started filming, we talked about it some and Jerry said like go back to moments and times. This is the soundtrack, so on and so forth. So it put a new perspective on it, and
Yeah.
it did help me complete the list for sure.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Like if those unskippable tracks were deserted island tracks, all
mhm.
right, now we've put it down to just you can only bring one song. You can bring these songs only, basically. These are your soundtrack of life. So
Well, that would have changed this list drastically, but
God damn.
uh, but uh, but I went with the moment in time thing, and I think that it works well, and
Okay.
I do
Okay.
love all these songs. So,
Yeah.
let's kick it off. Number fives, Jerry. What's your number five?
My number five. All right, I will like my number five is the Grateful Dead, "Touch of Grey." All
Okay.
right, when I was a kid, I remember hearing this song. I'm talking about real fucking little before I even had memories. All
Mhm.
right, uh,
I
and
remember hearing this song before I had memories.
yeah, exactly. I like
Okay.
it's instinct.
Hmm.
Like when you're a kid.
Okay.
So you aren't creating memories very vividly, but this is something that instinctively I knew was playing on like MTV at the time. Uh because I talked to my mom about it and she was always like, yeah, you would always be like, I want to hear the Skeleton song.
Hmm.
And if you watch the music video for Touch of Grey, the Grateful Dead start out as like skeletons.
Hmm.
Like they have just like marionette skeletons like playing. And then they eventually turn into the fleshy Grateful Dead.
Hmm.
And but yeah, I can put it on anytime, takes me to a certain place. I know it, like I hadn't heard it in between like 16 to 20 something.
Hmm.
And then when YouTube came out, I was like, oh, I want to listen. I want to dig that motherfucker up.
Hmm.
And yeah, it brings back those instincts, not those memories, those instincts from when I was a kid listening to it. So the Grateful Dead, Touch of Grey. What is your number five, Jacob?
All right. So my number five is You Plus Me, capsized.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to take a wild shot in the dark, and you say you don't know who I'm talking
No,
about.
not at
So
all. And
for the audience members also that might not know who this is, there's a great so back in like the early 2000s, there was a band, Alexis on Fire. Um, they were like a emo hardcore band, however you want to describe them.
okay.
They had, your stereotypical growler, screamer. Um, the singer had a beautiful, gorgeous voice.
Word.
Uh, he went and did a solo thing. It's called City in Color. Um, I love him. I love Alexis on Fire. I love City in Color.
Mm-hmm.
Just great, great musician. Now he paired with somebody that I did not give two shits with, um, Pink.
Okay.
I never cared about her music. I didn't nothing. But she decided to write this album. She asked him to come. So it's basically them singing to each other.
Cool.
This song is an attestament to both of their, the album is an attestament to both of their um abilities.
Yeah.
He's tried and true. I know I could count on him. He's what drew me to it. She impressed the shit out of me because I didn't know she could actually sing. The last thing I heard was the party song from like 1999 or whatever.
Yeah.
So she has an amazing singing voice.
Groovy.
And it's all very slow acoustics. But it's a great song. I love it. I listen to it all the time. Um, so yeah, that's my number 5.
Yeah. Testament to Pink if she chose him personally. So
Yeah, and it's an odd combination of,
yeah.
her coming out of the pop scene and then going, this guy that
Yeah.
nobody knows who he is. I want him. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool. Number 4,
Number
Jerry.
4. My number 4 is White Zombies, Blood Milk and Sky. White Zombies, Astro Creep, 2000 was like one of my first CDs. Like purchased a CD when I was a kid. I had tapes, but it was the first CD I owned. And yeah, that you got More Human Than the Human,
Right.
and Creature of the Wheel. You got all these songs, but the last track, when I always remember at the time I got it, when I heard that song, this is a song that's going to summon Satan. Like all that shit that they talked about in the 80s, like, music.
Right. The Satanic Panic.
Yeah. Like that crap.
Yeah.
I was like, that nobody is like worshiping Satan listening to Iron Maiden.
Right,
that
right.
stuff is just a phony baloney crap.
Yeah.
But when I heard this, I was like, oh, that's something dark.
Yeah.
That's something like, I feel like I shouldn't be listening to it. It has those backward guitars and it just low, and Rod Zombie doesn't like, like a motherfucker all the time. He sings low and it's growly and it's just, it feels dark. So number 4 is White Zombie, Blood Milk and Sky.
Okay. That's a great one, and that is a great song, and I love White Zombie.
Yeah. Especially that album.
Yeah. Astro Creep and Sex Decrecio. They're fucking phenomenal albums.
Yeah.
You can put those anytime, anywhere, and I'm ready to go. I do want to point out though that it's funny that you make fun of Rob Zombie a lot when you look like Rob Zombie. So I just like,
he saw me and he just stole my style,
Yeah. The 30-year difference between you two.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I thought it was weird. Like, I don't go out of my way to look like Jonah Hill and then shit on Jonah Hill. So but yeah. So my number 4 is A Perfect Circle's Judith. I was fairly young when this song came out, not overly young, but I was just starting to get into rock. I was moving out of hip hop, and this was one that just I knew who Tool was, and I liked Tool, but this was a different side.
Yeah.
And I hadn't heard the side of Maynard before. So, it was a lot more singing. And because at that time Tool was aggressive.
Yeah, it's a different Maynard.
It is. And the song, I mean, it's just, what it stands for, what it means to him, and all in all, it's a beautiful song. Lyrically, musically, it's powerful, and I love it, and it takes me back. So that's my number 4, for better or worse. So
groovy. Yeah, I definitely like A Perfect Circle. I feel is kind of like the perfect blend You get that
Yeah.
nice blend.
Hmm.
Whereas Tool is Tool is Tool is Tool, you know. But A Perfect Circle is a different like flavor for people. Like, oh, there are people I know who do not like it. Like Tool, love Tool. I don't
Yeah.
think you can like Tool. Just, yeah, it's good. But A Perfect Circle, a lot of people are just like, no, 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 that's not Tool. But I really enjoy fucking A Perfect Circle. Not more than Tool, probably even, So, but that's
Interesting.
cool.
Yeah, I
That's
would say I like Tool more, but A Perfect Circle is like just barely under it.
yeah, those where they have 3 albums total.
What? A Perfect Circle?
Yeah, or two.
Well, so they have that remix album.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So technically 4 or 5. I can't
Okay.
remember exactly. I actually, after I wrote this down on that list, I went back and listened to Eat the Elephant or the
Yeah,
Elephant album or whatever. It's actually really good. I didn't give it a fair chance,
yeah.
and I'm sorry, but it comes out with that first slow song that's almost like a 30s like jingle song,
Hmm.
and then his voice, where how he sings on it was phenomenal. Anyways, that's not what we're here for.
No, we're not.
Uh,
Yeah, they're not Perfect Circle.
I'll get Maynard's dick out of my mouth. Number 3, Jerry. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Iggy Pop's "The Passenger." If you listen to the song, his like the song itself is just nice poetry
Hmm?
of him talking about going to cities, and he's not driving, he's just sitting and he's watching the stuff out the window. And when I really got into the song, like, I was noticing that, when I be passengering and shit, like, you really take notice to uh like shit outside the window. Usually when you're driving, you're just trying to get to a place, so you're not really paying attention. But if you stop and just pay attention to the surroundings that you are passing, like these brief little moments, you see some, not some shit, but you see like life,
Right.
and I feel Iggy Pop
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
to me, to people who are passengers,
Mm-hmm.
uh but yeah, I'll definitely go down as middle of the list, number 3, Iggy Pop, "The Passenger."
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. For my number 3, another song that you've never heard by a band that you've never heard. This one is Act Appalled,
Oh no, I've
by
heard them.
Circa
Oh,
Circa Survive. Um,
I know Circus Survive.
right. Oh yeah, I've talked about them enough.
I think I've
So
heard like a little bit of them. I couldn't pick them out in a police lineup, but
right. Um, this album, somebody gave me this album and they were like, here, check it out. Within the week, I was on my way to Norfolk to see them live. Like, it made so much sense. It was so good.
mm,
There's like psychedelic guitar riffs over his singing, and it's just so good.
mm,
And at that time, it was in a weird place, and I would just, at the concert, I bought the vinyl, um, and I I listened to it on repeat.
yeah.
Like, I would just play it, flip it, play it, flip it, play it, flip it. I mean, just over and over and over again. And the whole album is so good. It
Hmm.
probably should have been on my top 5. But yeah, that song especially, because it talks about people that act offended when they've gone out of their way to be offended.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is something that I notice a lot in society and in people, that you know play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, don't act like appalled by this. Don't act shocked by this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number three.
Groovy,
Jerry?
man. Yeah, I wish I had more to tack onto that
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like I said, I haven't.
Yeah,
I know the name, and I think I've heard a couple of tracks, but
yeah,
I don't know it off the top of my head. So
yeah. That's cool. I mean, yeah, I
it,
don't know dick all about Grateful Dead, so I didn't add anything to that.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Going to number two.
Yes, sir.
This one actually might be off your radar, but all right. So it's First Aid Kit, Emmylou.
Yeah, absolutely off my radar.
Yeah. Okay, so why this one really hits personally with me is that when I first met Tara, she's like, send me some music, what you listen to. And I,
Mhm.
I just met her. I'm not gonna be able to throw Cannibal Corpse. I'm not gonna be able to like, this is like, this is mayhem, shit like that.
It
Or
might be
like
why I don't have a girlfriend, because that's exactly what I do. I'm like, here's Emperor
yeah,
and Mayhem. Do you still want to talk?
yeah. I mean, but uh First Aid Kit,
Yeah.
they are, I think, Swedish or Norway, or but they play almost like country.
Okay.
Very acoustic guitars, very pretty singing voice. And I just
Mhm.
rolled the dice and I was like, here's one of the bands that I really like and stuff. I just found them. And the song Emmylou really became like not like an anthem kind of
Mhm.
deal, where it's like now I hear the song and I'm reminded of my wife,
Mhm.
and it brings me right back to that moment and stuff where I first was like, here, listen to this, because I know you're not, gonna be down with listening to, like, I don't know, you like Corn. So, so yeah, First Aid Kit, Emmylou.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
cool. That's cool that you have something that takes you back there.
yeah.
I have nothing like that. My ex-wife's an asshole. So I will say for my number two and my number one, they are songs about sex. So
Oh,
let's jump right in.
all right. Number
Um,
two.
number two, um, he may have been putting it in the number two. I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't say specifically. Um, but Stellar, Incubus.
Okay.
Um, this song was like, I mean, I was like, what, 11, 12 when the song came out,
Holy shit.
and
I didn't
it
realize
was,
the age. Like, I was like, I
you're
think I was
only,
almost 16.
oh well, then maybe I was like 14 or something, because we're not that far apart.
No,
Or maybe you didn't take note to the song, but it
it
was
was
before.
Incubus. So
Right,
it
right,
was
right,
like,
right. You don't like good things. We already figured this out when we discussed Will Smith. So the I was okay, so I might not have been like 11 or 12. It may have been like 13, 14 or something like that. Um, but it was all over MTV. And again, that was my transitional time from
yeah.
hip hop to rock, and I didn't really know any better. But that Make Yourself album holds true to this day. Like
Mm,
I will still put, I've listened to that album, I would venture to say twice a month since this time. Not
yeah.
just for that song, the whole album, but this song is so cool. And I didn't even realize it was about sex until like way later. Like I
Mhm.
just, the vocal patterns and everything in the song kept me there with it. And then I noticed he says what it feels like to be inside you. And I was like, oh, he's talking about fucking. So then it just even got cooler. So so yeah, I love that song. I'm not gonna say I'm the biggest Incubus fan, but that album, especially, and the
Yeah.
song, I love it. So that's my number two.
Yeah, it like I remember that being like everywhere. Like you'd walk past like
Yeah.
TJ Maxx at the mall and like you'd hear that fucking song and shit.
Dude, in the 90s, early 2000s, when you were gonna smush, like it was Justin Timberlake or Incubus. Like that's what you put on when you were about to do the pretzel. Like when you're about to get intertwined with somebody, that's the music you listen to. Um, but you know, not everybody likes Incubus, not everybody likes, that
I think
sound, but
when you mention not everybody likes Incubus, I think the only like excuse I really have for not really getting into it
mm,
was that because I heard it so fucking much.
yeah, it was chop suey of the late
Yeah.
90s.
I mean, even that, like System of a Down.
Right.
But man, if I heard that song one more
Mhm.
time and then finally go back and you kind of listen to it, I've never given Incubus that go back,
I
like
would say if
Living
you
Dead Girl. You play Living fucking Dead Girl from
right.
like 2002 to 2000 fucking like I don't know, 12
Mhm.
still. I was like, no, I'm not having it.
And
And then I eventually,
that's the funny thing, because like I enjoyed Hillbilly Deluxe, and
yeah, yeah,
I enjoyed it as a kid, and I still enjoy it now, but I do skip Living Dead Girl, and I do skip uh Dracula.
yeah.
But with this album, this is the song that got this is one of the two songs that got super overplayed,
Mm-hmm.
like saturated the market. This and Pardon Me.
Yeah.
um this one I'll skip Pardon Me sometimes, not every time. When it's been long enough, I'll let it play through. I never skip this. This is actually somehow on my Apple Music in that album twice, back
Mm.
to back. So I listen to it back to back every time I listen to it. And then it goes to the next song. I would say if you don't go back and give that Make Yourself album a chance, at least go back and read the lyrics, because it's not even so much. It's not, what's the last thing you heard?
So much.
Okay. So it's not even so much like the instruments or anything like that. Um, Lyrically, this album is way deeper than I think a lot of people gave it credit for. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people just thought it was MTV pop, which it was,
Yeah.
but at the same time, lyrically, there was a lot of things in there that was like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially now that I'm older and going back and listening to it, like the song Consequence, he says consequence is a bigger word than you think, meaning there's a lot more consequences than you realize to your actions. Like going back and thinking about all the dumb shit I've done and what it's caused me in my life, like that song hits even harder now.
Yeah.
So yeah, big fan of that album. That's my number two. You have honorable mentions?
I do have honorable mentions. Do you?
I mean, I could throw some out.
Okay. I
I
have.
don't have any written down, so
It's like I can't write
I
them
it
down
was
because
dude,
once
it
they're on
was
the list, they may end up on the list.
no, no, that was a one-time thing.
Okay.
I it was hard enough for me to come up with this. For some reason, this one it wouldn't sink in. I was just
Mm-hmm.
having a hard time making this list. So.
It's some of them are real tough, or like, especially when you're listening back and you're like, fuck, I should have put that one on number two. I should have put that
Yeah,
one there, number three. But no. So yeah, my honorable mentions, and I will tell you the reasons why.
sure.
My first honorable mention is Annie Lennox, Into the West,
Okay.
the song from the end of the Lord of the Rings.
Hmm.
Okay. I know it's in the fucking will. That's my last goodbye song. When
Okay.
everybody's got to sit there and like, okay, we're gonna stare at Jerry and shit for a minute and stuff. You're gonna be hearing Into the fucking West and stuff. It's
Well,
my
that's good.
goodbye song.
All
You
right.
know. Next, this one is like, so I didn't have a musical style when I was first buying CDs.
Mm-hmm.
So as we know, I had White Zombie, I had the Beethoven album, I had the Sounds of the Forest that my grandmother got me.
And Pure
I
Moods.
and I had Pure Moods. I think I had like an Aerosmith album,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But one album that I did buy was a Weird Al Yankovic album.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm I like one special thing on Weird Al albums is he always has a polka track.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where he takes a bunch of songs and he makes a big long polka
Mm-hmm.
track.
Yep.
And my favorite is the Polka Your Eyes Out,
Mm-hmm.
which would have been like the 90s songs and shit. I think he
Mm-hmm.
does Nine Inch Nails Closer on that. And he does the Humpty Dance and shit like that. So, but man, I love fucking Weird Al's Polka Your Eyes Out. So,
Okay.
another one, the Flaming Lips, Do You Realize?
Yes.
When this album first came out, someone asked me what do I want for your birthday?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you don't gotta give me anything for my birthday. They wouldn't like give up. No, I'm getting you something for your birthday. I was like, fine, give me the Flaming Lips album. Brought it and listened to it and like just repeat
Mm-hmm.
on that that Do You Realize song.
And
Like,
I have you to thank for my love of the Flaming Lips because you introduced me to them. I hadn't heard of them, and you were like, "Here, listen to Yoshimi and Satellite
yeah,
Heart." Like, and I was like, "Okay," and I listened to them, and you can't help but fall in love.
yeah,
Like and especially Do You Realize that is such an amazing song.
yeah.
And I yeah, I'll
They
say that that's an honorable mention
okay.
because for sure that's an amazing song.
Yeah, they just the Flaming Lips. I mean, even their albums that are coming out now and stuff, they're
Mhm.
still A plus. Like even like when they did the Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, um, and like they did Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds with Miley Cyrus. Hate to say it, but I kind of like it,
They
you know.
remade the whole album.
Yeah,
They remade the whole album?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. When
That
did that
and
happen?
oh, a couple of years ago now. They did that. They did they remade Dark Side of the Moon.
Interesting.
Yeah, Henry
I
Rollins is on it and shit.
I the last thing that I saw was they came out with an album and I saw Miley Cyrus was on a track and I was like, okay, I'm done here.
Yeah, that's the
So yeah.
track she's on. And then like I don't know, like Wayne likes her with like the idea of just like she was a pop princess at one time and then
Mhm.
I guess he gave her acid or something and she's never been the same since.
Yeah, no arguments there.
All right. Another one on my honorable mentions was During the Dark Days.
Mhm.
This is Depeche Mode's Halo.
Okay.
There is nothing better than just like sitting depressed as hell listening to fucking Depeche Mode. Uh, especially that song. I think I listened to that a lot. Like that was one where like, you know, when your stereo's right next to your bed and
Mhm.
it's like just dark except for like a fucking candle because yeah, sure, why not? You know, it's
Mhm.
summertime, so I'm gonna burn candles in my room to make it hotter or
Mhm.
something. And you just keep hitting that like my stereo didn't have a repeat.
Mhm.
Like just keep repeating the track. I had to
Yeah.
sit there and physically like hit
Click
that
the back.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then that kind where it just kind of rewinds it faster and shit. And you're like, no, and you have to hit it again.
Yeah.
Um and my last one is Bjork, possibly maybe.
Okay.
This song. At one time, not a dark time, but at one time I think that song was just played a lot around me. And it I remember like I can vividly picture like the scenery and the setting and stuff and it's like a picture, you know, in my brain. And anytime I hear that song, it'll take me back. Like I can even smell, like I remember smells and shit
Mhm.
fucking from the music. So, but those are my honorable mentions. If other than Flaming Lips, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah. So I'll throw the White Buffalo, the Whistler.
Okay.
Um that is a song that I will listen to over and over again. Um and it is chilling. It tears me up and gives me chills and goosebumps every time I hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've listened to it so many times, and every time it brings the exact same emotions out. Um outside of that, uh Fiona Apple, Criminal.
Yeah.
Another one that was, from my early interests in rock, um, more or less like MTV exploration age, uh, but phenomenal song.
Yeah.
Um, just beautiful voice. The music was really good. Um, and yeah, I think, and then, yeah, so I will put, so the guy from You Plus Me, Dallas Green, his
Mm-hmm.
solo project is City in Color. Um, he had a song on one of his earlier albums called Save Your Scissors. Uh, I actually have it tattooed on my chest right here. Um, this one is a special song to me. It's not really on my list because there are other songs that it should be on my list. Now that I'm thinking about it, it should be on my list. But to avoid another Windhand Black Keys situation,
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it on my list. But it's a very special song to me because when my daughter was born, she had colic and she would not stop crying. She would not sleep, just 24 hours a day. The only thing that calmed her down is when I would put this on. I
Mm-hmm.
would put on this song or any of his songs really, but this one specifically, for some reason, she would get mesmerized and she would stop crying and she would calm down.
Yeah.
And for that 3 or 4, she was in tune. And even now, when I play it, obviously she doesn't remember because she
Mm-hmm.
could barely sit up at that time.
Yeah.
Um, Even now when I play it, she doesn't necessarily go, "Oh, I love this song," but she's quiet during it. It's
Yeah.
almost like it's wired her brain to just be quiet during this specific song. Um, which I can't get her to do at any other time. So it still does the same thing. She's not crying, she's just talking now. So it still does the same thing. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the song. I loved it long before she came along, and it holds a special place because it was the one thing that would calm her down.
Yeah.
And I love it for that. And so that really should be on my list, but uh it's not. But those are the only ones that, really come to mind.
Yeah.
I guess if I was going to throw another one, She Wants Revenge, Red Flags and Long Nights. That song's fucking awesome. It's, become popular in the last several years.
Yeah.
You hear it on soundtracks and stuff like that, but that's it. All right. So that brings us to our number one spot.
Number one.
Yeah.
Number one.
So number one, let's do it.
All right. My number one is The Pretenders. I'll Stand By You. This was a
Interesting.
song that was a gift. I was like, I think it was like 94 when it came out. So I was 11.
Hmm.
And my mom called me into the room and was like, come here, come sit and watch this. This is your song. This is my
Hmm.
song to you. So anytime that I like hear the song, I always remember her, you know.
Hmm.
So that it's just this bond. Don't care. I could be walking past Someone could be driving past me and I'll hear
Mhm.
that song, which I don't hear it very much nowadays. But
Mhm.
yeah, it'll take me right back to when I was told to come sit down. Like, am I in
Mhm.
trouble? You know, no, no,
Yeah.
just come sit down, watch this. This is your song. So
Right.
that is my number one song.
All right. So for my number one, I'm gonna bring it full circle. It's another Maynard, but he's just a guest on this song. Uh Passenger by Deftones.
Yeah.
It is probably my favorite song ever in life. Again, it's about fucking, or seemingly. But it is a great song. The Deftones were just amazing.
Yep.
They were on a different level. And then you combine Maynard. And again, this was before I knew about A Perfect Circle. So I was like, whoa, Maynard has a voice.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, he should experiment with this. He should start another band. And
And sing. Yeah.
A Perfect Circle. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, this song just is another one that I will listen to on repeat, just the one track over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah.
So
And
it takes the number one spot.
he doesn't take anything away from the other, like he adds to that song. Like he puts a new layer
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
sings in it. It's not, you know, we're the Deftones and that's Maynard. No, it blends very nicely
Mm-hmm.
with him in there.
Yeah.
Like, but you know when he's, you know, he comes up in that, like, I guess chorus and shit. Fucking,
Oh yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
music
It
guitar,
just
so
it takes the song to another level.
yeah.
Um
Like
I
if
mean
you
the
took his parts
Deftones,
out, you
yeah.
know, it would still
Yeah.
be a good song, but when you add it in, it just makes it magma.
Yeah, yeah. It's insane.
Yeah.
Um, so that's our lists of top five singles. Yeah, hope you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Let us know what your top five single songs are, and we'll see you next time with whatever.